My name is Emmerson Mose. I work at the Mesa Family Library Center. I've been working there for the past over 10 years. Over there, I've been working there for a long period of time. I do mostly Native American research. I picked it up from a lady by the name of Jane Morgan, the late Jane Morgan. She was of Cherokee descent, and she needed some help. And I came along, just stumbling along, and I was kind of curious, like everybody else, wanted to learn how to find my ancestors. I didn't know my relative. And I just stumbled in, and we got our heads together, and we put it together along with another person by the name of James Tanner. James is out of Gallup, New Mexico. He now works in Salt Lake City. Come on in, people. Come on in. Out in the Midwest. But my overall teaching is I do everybody. We've got tribes in Mexico, we've got tribes in Canada, we've got tribes out in South America. So it relates to the whole thing. So I do everything all at one time. I just do it all. And I don't use family search that much. Because family search does not have the tool versus to Ancestry. Ancestry.com has the tool to find your kin's going back a little bit. Okay, so that's a good thing about it. And our records show us that from 1865, I believe it was, up to 1950. That's what records we have on the census. Anything further back, going back that way, there's nothing. So I'm sorry, that's just how it was back in the good old days. The U.S. government did not really recognize the tribes, or didn't really recognize the records, so we were kind of considered as non-citizens back then. And only means that, the only what that really means is just that we were not counted in. And so, until after, probably right until the turn of the century, 1890 or somewhere after the Cherokees, long walk they had over there, then they started putting records when they got there to Oklahoma. So they're all in the north and western tribes, they started getting records over there, while the western over here was going slowly. So we finally got our records for, most of our records showed up probably around during the, I'm going to say right during the Korean War. That's when it started showing up. So, come on in, we've got chairs back here. Unless you want to sit on the floor like Amy does. No? Okay, too much. All right, so anyway, we're going to start it off right now. Or you right now. I can't find you now, lost you. All right, start out. You just blend in with everybody. Yep. Okay, scientists, Einstein's people say we came from the north, and some of us say we came from the east. I'll let you guys decide however you guys go. But the Mormon tells us we came from the east, and there are some true stories of that too. Yeah, some of the elderly people still say that. Yeah, we came from the east. We roamed around. And some, of course, we came from the north, from, or it goes as to say we came from descendants of the Asian country. Okay, go on. And these are the group of tribes that here in North America, especially in the USA, these are the tribes most of you probably all recognize. And most of the tribe continues all the way down South America, as well as Canada. Okay. And most of us in the Native American, we can only go back 3 to 4 generations back. Again, only the 3 to 4 generations back, only because we don't have that records going back. So that's the only thing. The rest from there on, it'll all be verbal. All be verbal. And you're going to work it that words from all my great-grandparents, or somebody used to say that was her name. The trouble you're going to run into is they had 2 or 3 or 4 names too. That's another trouble you're going to run into. Native American research is not all that easy. By the time I get done with this, you guys are going to feel like scouts. I'm going to make you guys a scout. And you're going to feel like a full-blooded Indian, and I'll tell you why. All right, we'll move on. These are some of the important websites. Again, Ancestry. Might be awake, guys. Ancestry, Poetry, it's a military website, Family Search, National Archive, U.S. Department of Interior and Affairs. You can write your website. You got the cam. You got one of the smart cameras. One of the photos of this. You guys can get that on those things. Maybe I'll get out. Get photo. I ran out of it. I didn't know how many people I expected. They didn't tell me. That's how many people showed up. Okay. All right. You guys get your photo, everything then? Okay. Go ahead. Next. Okay. Our first Native American that ever got married to the European was Pocahontas. And she was the first to go abroad too. And she's on the record, on the church record. That's a hint. Church records. She's on one of the church records. That's where you'll find. Okay. And that's because she got married to, in front of God there as a preacher. Okay.
Excuse me, brother.
Yes, go ahead.
Just an interesting point. This young lady in the pink shirt is a direct descendant of Pocahontas.
All right. Never know who's going to be in our room.
Stand up, Lucy.
Why don't you stand up just for a second?
I just found out from Roots Tech last year, they sent me a thing after Roots Tech was over. Said famous people you're related to, and Pocahontas is my 10th great grandmother.
Oh. Yes. Thank you. I should let you talk about her now.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on. All right, DNA. This doesn't really apply too much to all of us, but as you know, again, the DNA was Native Americans. The green one, the light green one, shows more, and it goes all the way down to South America, and it goes back into the Asian countries. And so, again, that's where there's a lot of dispute going on at the moment. Some people don't buy that, some people accept that. That's really up to your choice. And just keep that bare. That's just who we are. All right, let's go on next. Okay, where we find vital records. Okay, vital records. Birth record, marriage record, death record, church record. Catholics and other Methodists, other churches too, you'll find records on there. On Ancestry, I'll show you where you'll find records on it. You should have your paper, will show you that too. Okay, continue on. Hospital records. I found an aunt of mine of my father's side that I never knew that she existed. She died back in, back the earlier days, 1930, childbirth. And I discovered her earlier. I never knew my dad had a sister, and her name was Yesba. And I'll show you that on the record. I think I gave you that info on you guys on that paper too. Yeah, something like that. Yesba. Military record. We'll find military record. You guys can get some of that notice on there. Okay, next. Okay, answers. Here we go. Boy, that's, man. We should check out the room. I'm going to Hollywood. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, we should have been at the chapel. A month ago, too, I got a call from Andrea Haley from Salt Lake. I never knew her. She called me up and said, I want to interview you. For what? And then she told me who told me about me. Oh, God, so I'm now getting popular. So I'm on her website, by the way. All right, when you get to Ancestry, this is Ancestry.com. When you get there, go to search, click on search. Okay, next. I'm using my father for example on this whole thing. When you click on that, it's going to show all collections, census photos, birth, all this information right here. Next. Then when you get there, take your mouse, run it to your right side, come down to here where it faded out, where it should have said Native American Records. Click on that, and that's what you're going to come out with. And I'll show that. Okay, first thing you notice, U.S. Census Bureau, 1885 to 1940, but now we've gone to 1950. So that's what we have record. Anything beyond 1885, there are some records again, like the northeastern and the southeastern tribes. They got a little bit of record. You can go back into the 1700s. You might even go back to the 1600s a little bit too. So there are chances a little bit there. And that's only because if the person was working for the military or ran a store or something that he worked with. And being known back, so you have records of that. So there's a little bit of info for that, you people. And then the rest is kind of slow, push the rest. Okay, next. Oh, by the way, before we go back. You can also, I'm sorry, there's two other ways you can do it too. There's several ways that you can do this once you get good at this. You can go to jurisdiction, click on jurisdiction, it'll give you a lot of information on what tribes. And then, or you can go right here. I normally like to go to Native American records, you click on that too. And that's where that paper that was showing you guys, the whole listing, it'll come out. Anybody have that list right now? That, yes, I looked it up a little bit higher. Yeah, those, yeah. It'll give you a whole bunch of lists. That's one thing to give you all the listing of what tribe you use. That's good too. You guys might share that. That's a good, I like to use that a lot too.
Take a picture.
There are several ways you can do this. I joke around all the time with this. I find records all the time. Okay, now we can go to the next one. Okay, when you find out, make sure you type the person's name. I put my father's name, Donald Mose. Again, names. Names will be different. Dan Mose, son. Donald Mose. And then one thing on this too you're gonna notice. Look what it says, Hopi Indian, Navajo. Okay, this goes for all tribes again that I discovered. The 5 civilized tribes, the same way, the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole. They had, okay, let me go back with my first. I'm originally from Pino, I'm an Navajo today. My families had to go down to the Hopi Reservation to Kings Canyon and to get records. The same way with other tribes, the same thing happened with them. They had to go to a different town, different location to get their census in. And so you'll find my family record on the Hopi census information, okay? And that's going to be, that's how they did it back in those days. And even though you're from New Mexico, you might find it in eastern, like in Shiprock or somewhere else, or elsewhere. Patches were the same way. Everything, they had to do it that way. Wherever the census places or the general stores or the schooling, that's where they took it. And there's more to that, so go ahead.
I also found out that way back, like in the 17, or like maybe the early 1800s, you know how in Navajo we had agencies?
Right.
Back then, the agencies were different.
They were small.
So,
Yes.
yeah, like, so
Mhm.
I'm from Hard Rock,
Yep.
Costa Pina. So Hard Rock was included with Hopi
Correct.
and down to Loop and almost
Yes.
into Coconino County. So when I was looking through the census roll or the census data from back then, my community is like in a Loop / Hopi census roll.
Yep, exactly. And that goes for all the tribes again. Not just that was the Hopi, that goes even with the Mojave tribes, the Pima tribes, they were just kind of binding to wherever the small group get together. All right, let's go on to the next one. Look, when you open up your website like this, you can find the general information. A lot of people tend to ignore the one column where it's circled. A lot of people tend to ignore that. They just bypass. There are a lot of information right there. Click on one of them, and you'll find a lot of information on there. Don't ever ignore that. It's always there. You'll find a whole lot of information. More information data collects everything. It puts it on there. A lot of people just bypass looking at that. They only look at this main focus of this thing.
Is the birth date really important? Because I know back then, my mom, being Navajo, they said they chose seasons.
Okay, it don't have to be the right number of the birthday. You can just put the year, 1900 or 1800. Okay, because the day wasn't all that, wasn't all that accurate anyway. Okay, so just go by that too. So everybody got that? Just go by the year. Just estimate the year, 1900 or 1800. Even if a person was born in 1930, I'll just put 1900, go by that. Alrighty. All right. When you go look at the census, okay, here's my father. Look at that name right up here. Look at the top one here. It says that Emma's probably Grandma Mose. There's no name up there. But then from there, my father. Remember what I said about names will change too. My father, Donald Mose, Robert Lee, Dan Desby, this is the one I found that was deceased. My uncle, Robert Lee, he always called himself Robert Lee. One day I asked him, Robert, what come you never use Mose? And he started laughing. When I was going to school back in the days, I heard so much about General Robert E. Lee. He was my hero. So I kept that name. There's one example. Dan. To this day, his name is Deswood. I asked him, Deswood, on the record it says your name is Dan. He laughed. He says, I went to Deswood, South Dakota, and I like Deswood, South Dakota. See what I mean? Okay, now these two, she passed away not long ago. Just more. One day I was showing this, one patriarch that came in one day, and we were looking at this, and she noticed this mule boy. She paused, and she goes, you know, I look at this. So she looked, go ahead. So she looked at it, and then she turned the page over. She looked at it, she came back. She goes, I had a grandma. This is where it all started. I was telling her about this back to this grandma. She goes, who is this? Because that was supposed to be her, my dad's grandma. Her name was Stomp Kelly, which means her donkeys. She owned 2 donkeys. That's how she got that name. And she goes, my understanding, I had a great grandma. Her name was Stomp Kelly, 2 donkeys. And she was from to a city. Miracle things happen when you work at a family history. She goes, my great grandma, that was her name. And I said, where was she from? Well, we're from Tuba City. But then she paused, she goes, you know, but she came from, I think she came from the Nevato of Hard Rock, she says. Then she paused for another moment, think about it. I think from Big Valley, or White Valley, she said, White Valley. You know what? You're right. She came from White Valley too. Turned out we were both from the great-great-grandma. Here we are. Here we are. So things like that happen. You never know who you're sitting right next to. You never know who you're helping. You be from the same family. Okay, let's roll on again. But you had a question? I'm sorry.
I just kind of, maybe I'm doing wrong here. My mom was my biological mother was on the placement program. She gave me birth. She abandoned me, and the family that she was placed with kept me and adopted me. Changed my name. I don't have a birth certificate. I know my biological mother. I met her. She just passed away in November. But so my biological mother on the birth certificate, I am white on white, as the people who adopted me. I don't know anything about my biological family, and she just passed. So I don't know. So what do I do? I mean, is there a way that I can?
That's hard. That's a hard one.
DNA.
I did DNA.
Well, other than the DNA, yeah, but that DNA is just going to show you, yeah, you're part of the native. That's all true. They're not going to tell you who your grandparents or your mom or that line. Go ahead. Go ahead, stand
The
up. So I can
DNA,
see.
though, it can show you who you're related to. So you can go from that, you can find your closest relative and then maybe follow who they were related to. So they might be a cousin or an aunt or an uncle. So I would give it a try.
Yeah, I went through the ancestry DNA. I did my DNA.
Yeah. Did you find people you were related to?
Possible relations up to 4 cousins, and that was it.
Okay.
The thing I run into that now, maybe it's different now, but I don't know. It's still the same. We got so many tribes here, it's still going to show that same color. I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility now. I don't know. But that's a good point. I just had a young lady not long ago in that same situation. She's from Mexico. She claimed that she's a native. But as they flied over there, great-great-grandpa and great-grandma, she put white. That's what happened with the Cherokees, the 5 civilized tribes. That's what happened with a lot of them. So it could be they are, you know, have to go by the census. They're still going. Even the black African Americans are going through that same route. they have to prove to themselves that they are native. Yes, I'm sure they are, but all going back with the census way back in the good old days. So there's some toughness that you had to go through. All right, I'm sorry I couldn't really answer that question. Yeah, but it's a good point. Good to hear. Okay. All right. Anyway, so we turned out to be that was great grandma turned about Salvador Kelly and her donkeys. Okay, go ahead. Records. Okay, records here. This is what Sophia was. This is what I found on her. So this is what you're gonna find in death records information. And I found my grandpa, Mose, and nephew George, and Pauline. These will find what you're gonna find. You notice too, if you might notice too, look at this first name, Mose, and nephew George. And my name is Emmerson Mose. It should have been the Jody too, by the way. The opposite. I asked why did Grandpa didn't take the Jody. He said, well, it goes back by the name of Mose. Sorry, anybody come in? Anybody come in? Okay. Anyway, my grandfather used to work for Lorenzo Hubble, who ran the trading post in Ganado and stuff, reservation. He could not say the Jody in his language, and I guess he was a Spanish, so he couldn't say it right. So he told him, I'm going to give you a new name. And it was a Spanish name, whether it was Martinez or Gonzalo or something like that. So he took that name back home and to his family, and the family could not pronounce Mosiah, whatever his Spanish name was. But instead, they ended up calling him Mose. So that's how my last name became Mose, Ricky Mose. So I'm supposed to be the Jolie. So that's what you're going to run into tuning like that again. Okay? And then, of course, Pauline, some sees it too, yellow hair. That's how, on the record, that's what it shows too. Oh, this is one of the records you'll find that helps out a lot too. Okay, any questions on this? Alrighty, let's go. Well, did you have something to say earlier?
Oh, no.
You were smiling.
The Jolie, shows up in mine. That's what, but go on.
You could be my relative.
There you
never
go.
know. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, this is the death certificate record. You'll find information on this too. And I have that printout that I showed you guys that's on there too, so you'll find that on there. For those important information, you can dock it up. Whoever deceased, you can find their records on there. Okay, any question on that, anybody?
What's the name on it? Did you say Hostine Whitewater?
Hostine Whitewater, which we Whitewater in Quintic guy, now it's Whitewater. Oh, there you go. I like that. Okay. So that's what it is. Alrighty, next. Okay, this gets interesting too. Again, native records are very funny, very interesting. One day I was playing around with it, and I've been looking. I put my mouse on this name, right where it's yellow. It shows, with the mouse, it shows Walter White. But with the naked eye, it says White Water. If you look at it good. And I've been looking for this family for a period of time, and something is not coming up. Clicking, it's got to be this one. One day, I remember, these are hints you're going to find. When you heard stories about people went to school, certain areas back in the good old days, move where they used to live. Remember this. Remember that in your mind. Get that muscle brain working in there. My mother told me her and her sister went to school down in Fort Apache. Okay, listen to this. This story gets funnier. As I was thinking about this, looking at these names, my mom's name is Grace. Grace Whitewater, Grace Mose. I was going through this list. I found this name right here. It says Grace. My grandfather was probably told, what's your daughter's name? He probably looked at her, oh, whoosh. Navajo accent. Whoosh. So the census taker, whatever he heard, he jotted that down. Like a waste basket. Anyway, I started looking. This is where you're going to become an investigator. You're going to be an FBI for this. I recall her talking about, I started looking at occupation. I started looking down here, and this is what I found. School, Fort Apache. remember, her and her sister went to school down there, and I found her sister right up here on top too, somewhere. That, when I said, bingo! Ace is wild. And so, so that was them. And the more I look at it, and also down here, this is the in-laws, Katie Gay, and then Susie right here too. Okay, let me run you back a little bit. In the 1930s, on back, the names are traditional. You can find traditional names for most people. When you go into further, coming back this way, into the 1940s and coming back straight, the names changed to English. So back in the good old days, you can find traditional names. So you can recall some of your families and their traditional names. Keep that in mind. That's what you can run into. Alrighty, let's go on next one. Again, this is what it looks like in 1930. Look at the names, like I said. Look at the 1940s, 40s. Look how the name changed. So that's what you're going to run into. So it gets better though when the time comes up. In the 1950s, it's even better. Some of us may not know our clans. In the 1950s, they show your clans on there. That's one thing good about it. That's a good part of that. So, again, I don't know if it's all Native American, but as far as I know, there's a lot of them like that. Go ahead.
Our friend of mine, and he is a Navajo. His birth name is Senator. He went to the Navy, or the Army, they couldn't say it, so they named him Jensen. And he served as a Jensen. So he went back to the reservation, he didn't know his name, he didn't know his name, so he went back to Senator. So it's really, they changed it just because they couldn't say it.
Yeah.
They spell it. Is that true?
That's
Seems like
true.
everything
Yeah,
else.
that's like what I said about my grandma, or my mom too. You know, Grace, you know, or other names like even the Jolie, grandpa. You know, things like that too. So, yeah, those things happen. Any questions? Go ahead.
I'm from San Carlos, Apache, and I'm an old mother there. But my father used to tell us that his father, which would be my paternal grandfather, he came from Mescalero and settled in San Carlos. But his last name, his name was Naki. And when he took the But when they took the census roll, and then he had another brother too, when they took the census roll, he didn't have an English name. All he had was this Apache name. So whoever took the census roll, who was a white person, no, he went to boarding school, I'm sorry, he went to boarding school in San Carlos under the federal government Bureau of Indian Affairs. And because he didn't have an English name, whoever registered him at the boarding school, and they used to do this in the old days. From now on, you will be named Victor Brown. This will be your name. So in the school records, he was registered as Victor Brown, but his brother was given a different name. His brother was called Alfred Fredette. Two different names, but they're brothers. So those two registered under those two names, but they were brothers, so that's what can happen. It can be very confusing.
Yeah, it's like I said, Robert Lee, Dan, you know, like that too. Like what I was talking about. Exactly what I was talking about. Yep.
I have a comment.
Okay, I get two, whichever one.
Okay. So, my aunt, part of my family's last name was Guy. And one time I asked my aunt, where did Guy come from? My grandpa's name's Draper. And she said, I don't even know. We were playing outside one day and this white guy came and he asked us what my name was. And I told him Guff, which is a rabbit, so that was her nickname. She said, I told her my name was Guy, and then from then on he told me your name's gonna be Janet Guy. And then after that, everybody that came after her were guys. Their last name was Guy. Yeah, it's crazy. And then when they do however way they write their names in Navajo or whatever other language, it takes some deciphering to get it right, because they just do it all phonetically. And they write what they hear, and you have to guess what they, you know.
Ah, those Bulacanas. Well, let me get this gentleman first. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
My grandfather, my grandpa, Uncle St. Carlos, his last name was Big Bonnie, but that was the way it was, and I have another grandfather, his name was Big Clotis.
I bet you could find out. I bet you can do it. If you can. Go ahead.
On the Tribal Testimony podcast, there was someone who made reference to the University of Utah.
Yes, there you go.
Had done some oral interviews at certain chapters. Do you know how to get access to those oral interviews of chapter elders?
I think we have one of those, my great grandfather had one of those oral interviews, and I think you just contact the University of Utah and they will send you the transcript. And I think you can even get the recording of that. Because I have a transcript of my grandfather.
Somebody brought that up to my attention too last second.
Yeah, I think
Somebody
you
brought
can
that
be
up to me.
Utah, they will do.
Okay. All right, let's go and move on, guys. Let's roll on. Okay. All right, back to, okay, which way are we going here? I think we might have passed it. Go ahead. I think we did this already. All right. Census IDs by codes, okay? When you get to the census, you can find W. That's called the race, where you go down to race and everything. You can find W, white, C's, and black, and Negroes, Indian. Of course, you'll find that on there. That's just the race where you can find down the column there. All right, next. All right.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
When you listed that on the back one, so I am Polynesian, and when I go into my ancestry records, they, and I feel like you guys probably can relate to this, would list some of my relatives as black. And I felt like they did that because it was easier to take the land away from a black than it was to take it away from someone else. So they would list them as black, being black.
Back to the 5 civilized tribes, they came upon a lot of that. And then some of the Cherokees themselves did this on their own. Not all Native Americans are brown skinned, okay? A lot of people, some of them are very white. I mean, like, just glowing, naturally white, okay? And some are copper tone. Oh, they were getting commodity foods, or getting money from things like the government. Oh, my skin is white. So they put W. To this day, it's hurting them. And that's just what happened recently, what I heard on the African Americans. They did the same thing to them too. Even though they're part Indians, but they were considered fully black. So some of the tribes are helping them, some are like, I don't know what else to do for you. That's where they're at. Okay.
You know, I heard that anyone that is born north of the, or south of the Mason-Dixon line, there was either white or black. And if you wanted to claim Indian, you had to go north to be born. I heard that, very racist.
Let me catch you guys. I was told you guys have lunch now. Let's finish this off first. Let's finish this off first, because we're in a good mood here. Now let you guys all do what you did. We can talk about it later, okay, guys? All right. I can hear stomachs growling. All right. If you go to card catalog on your family, search your ancestry, just type in Native American or Indian, you'll get a whole information like that. Just roll on. Okay, I just put this picture on to let you just see it. Stan White was who served for the Cherokee on the southern, and USS Grant serves a white military, and L. Parker. Those two, L. Parker and him, were good buddies at the younger days, so that's how they know. And this is just some of your heroes. The Comanches, the Choctaw, and I can't remember who the other tribes. These are your first code targets besides the Navajos. So Comanches and the Choctaw were one of your first code targets. Let you get you in history, let you know. Not the Navajos, but they did the big job though. And the Comanches, they only did it for a short period of time. The Choctaw did it for like several months too also, and then the war was over. But the Navajos did the rest of it at the end of World War II. That's just quick history of that, I'm showing you guys. So, and of course, our hero, our haste. All right, next. This is some I'm sure. We're gonna go to poll 3. This is another website I would like you guys to use, but poll 3 will look like this. This is also Native American research you can do. You go down here, you click on here, go next. Okay, and then when you click on that, it'll show something like that. Application, Cherokee information, or any tribe information will give you that. The Dallas rolls and the other Guiana rolls, all information, even that one. But let me tell you on this one, poll 3 is no different now. Everything that you're going to find on Ancestry, it's on Ancestry. Poll 3 is everything on there. It's no different now. So it's not, I mean, you can still use it to find some information, but everything's on Ancestry now. All right, next. Okay, as you go along, you can find that like Indian Census Road, 1865, same thing I was showing you on the Ancestry. Okay, one thing I joke around about this, if I can't find your family record, well, maybe we'll find it on the Project Blue Book. You have no this is a military website. Maybe you're talking abroad from some of them. That's why I have it on there. All right, next. Okay. Okay, land records. You can find land records too. You got a lot of information on land records. Okay, next. And every state has their own land records. Every state has their own website. So you have to, this is the Arizona, so you can go on this and get some information. Wherever state you're in, Nevada, California, Utah, you can find, just go on any BLM records, you'll find that. Next. This is what Arizona, it used to look like that, it changed now, the pages, so it looks a little bit different now. Okay. Next. Okay, family history site. Again, family history does not really have the tools. I'm just showing you this so you can use it, but you can also use a little bit of it. Ancestry has the tool.
How much does Ancestry cost? Is there a cost to this?
Okay, no. When you sign up for Family Search, you got a free website to go on Ancestry. There'll be a free one. There's on your right side of the column. There'll be you'll have My Heritage, something else I can't remember down the line. It's a free. It'll be free to you once you sign up for this, and you can use the same user's name, the same password to get in there, so you don't have to pay for it. It's free. Okay, next. Okay. Go to Family Search website, Wiki, how to use Wiki, Native American, land records. These are all some things you can try looking into too. And never church records too. Categories. Okay, let's go on. Okay, using Wiki, you can clear up down top. That's why you'll find it. Click on that. And then this is what you're going to come out with. All kind of answers. Use that, learn a little bit of history on it, read on this, we'll get your information.
Brother Mose?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you might want to check your books as well.
Right.
And type in. You can type a surname. You can type a specific tribe in there as well.
Got it? Get that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you can check the catalog and you'll find a lot of different types of records as well as books within there.
I'm going to show you this one. Here's the Dawes rolls that I have for the Cherokee information. So we got names in here.
Just for Cherokee?
Cherokee. I don't have the Guiana roll, but this is mostly the main one that I use. So there's one right here.
Where did you get that?
Online, I got this a while back through Jane Morgan. She's the one who gave this to me. But you can find this on Amazon, wherever down. You can find it. Okay. I used to have also the Southwestern records. I used to have like the down in Pima reservation and the Capitals. I used to have those too. I gave that away. All right, next let's go move on. All right, 5 civilized tribes. We talked about that earlier. Okay, this is just where they used to hang out. This is where they used to be home, and they got marched off home to Oklahoma. Okay, let me quickly tell you something about this real quickly. Although something really happened badly here, gun points were pointed at them. They have to march to Oklahoma. A lot of tribes were taken. There was a whole thing. There was a reason to it. The whole reason to it is what is right here, guys. Where's Missouri? I can't find Missouri. Way up there. In Missouri, what's the future plan?
Gathering.
Right. And guess who's gonna be doing that? We, the people, the Oklahoma probably, we the Native Americans, we're gonna probably build that temple again. And that's where we're gonna be gathered again. So there's a reason why we got marched off of there. Yes, it was a painful thing, but there's a blessing we can get back. A blessing coming. And like some Native Americans, they all believe that first man, first woman was created here on this continent.